Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another recap review here of BMF Season 2, Episode 5, Moment of Truth. It is the Big Gold Belt Media Crew, Lucas and I, ready to break this episode down. We're going to have a lot of fun in this episode because, man, as Lucas has said numerous times in previous episodes, who's really the bad guy in BMF? And I think he might have revealed himself finally. But no, that's gonna be a fun episode, folks. Ton of things to talk about. And hopefully you all enjoyed last week's recap and our interview. Good to talk to Lauren, Denise, as we going to start off this episode talking about Denise. But Lauren gave a lot of insight about that character, per slight hints at what we can expect going forward. And I love how you all are also nodding towards her transformation, which we talked about in the interview. But I mean, hey, that's part of the work of acting right there. And then the other part is actually going out there doing the thing. So great performance around by Lauren and the character Denise. And be curious to see where this goes forward, because it looks like we got some more Denise coming up, especially as a deal looked to have been made in this episode. But before we get into tonight's episode, Sir Lucas, how you doing today?
Man, I'm moving quicker than Charles did on 2 occasions in this episode. So that should tell you exactly how I am. Man, my guy made the 60-second assassin rule twice in one episode. He set a record that we've never seen on television before. Yeah. Like my man said, man, I'm gonna get off 2 sex scenes. They said, how long? He said, in less than a minute. Like, wow.
Russell came to the table and it was like, listen, who's directing this episode? They said, oh, well, it's Elf Rivera. It's like, okay, cool. That's the guy, you know? And okay, cool. Say, hey man, listen, we got 2 for you. He's like, 2 what? He's like, no, we got 2 for 2 what? You know, he's a man, as he said in our interview.
Hey. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna do what men used to do. And back in the 80s, men used to bust quick. So I'm gonna bust quick on both of them, Joe.
Oh man, so much to talk about. But let's just start off quickly with our thoughts about tonight's episode. As again, we're covering episode 5 here tonight. Moment of Truth. Sir Lucas, throwing it back to you. What's your overall thoughts about this episode, man?
This is the episode they teach you how to cook crack. Just pay attention to it. It's a pivotal episode because it's a pivotal moment in time. Keep in mind here, they're supposed to, in Detroit at this point, they don't really know much about crack cocaine, but it kind of puts some credence on other things that we've seen in this show and how they move drugs. And the point that here is they're taught Mr. 2 for 1. It brings to light that what people thought another show was lying about when that method came about, and no one knew about it. No one knew how special it was to create this 2 for 1 deal. So, I mean, this episode just is the business and how you run the business and what you take from the business. All of it rolled into one, including brotherly love here. I mean, I would have never thought that you could get that much money from shooting craps, but you know, this is the 80s where everybody had that much money to shoot craps. And then we finally got to see Monique in this episode.
There you go.
Goldie with the line of the episode, and this drunk nigga out my club. It's gonna be fucking shit up. Like, it was a powerful intro to this character because you needed to see it. We all knew this character was coming, but you kind of wondered, like, how are we going to see this character? What's going to be the first images we get? The very first images we get was she might as well just say at the beginning, "Hey, my sweet babies," and then she cracked the dude over his head because he got out of line. It's classic Monique. Like, what you expect out of an Oscar winner to come on a show like this?
Yeah. Monique name being attached to season 2, we knew about a long time ago. Now 5 episodes and we finally get our first look at her. As you said, a fantastic introduction. And honestly, I just was just really thankful to see her back on television, man. You know, it's been a lot of things kind of going on and whatnot, but I think any cast or crew that she's in addition to is for the better. So she only does nothing but, as the theme of BMF season 2 is elevate, elevate, elevate. And now Goldie coming in shakes everything up. And folks, let's just take a look at our roster here of characters that have been shaking things up as it is. You have K9 for one. You have Peaches, who's kind of a wild card here.
2 episodes without K9. I'm just saying, like,
I mean, you got Detective Jen also shaking things up on the law enforcement side. I mean, there's a lot of characters here that just, you know, now adding Monique, you're just like, well, damn, like, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? So very excited to finally get our first look at Monique as Goldie, and we'll see her go. But folks, y'all get in the comments, let us know y'all thoughts about tonight's episode, y'all favorite moments, y'all favorite scenes, y'all favorite characters, the oh my god moments, all that other good stuff. Let us know in the comments right now as we get ready to
I forgot a moment. I gotta bring it up. My girl, who I think is killing it so far this season, and unexpectedly for a lot of people, but not for me, and that is Cash Doll coming in as the lawyer. Like that whole scene was wonderful.
Good enough for you. It's like our second thing in our recap. So you want to just get into it?
Hey, look,
I knew you were going to send for Cash Doll. I knew it. I saw it.
Beyond me being a fan of her music, I am a fan of Cash Doll in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And here, when I ain't even sure she said the right amendment that they was going to violate, because she said the 6th Amendment. I had to think, like, wait a minute, is that the 6th Amendment? But like, I was all for it. I'm like, you know what? She right. You gonna violate the 6th Amendment? You better listen to Cash Doll. She again, it was unexpected, so it made it feel like, wait a minute, is this her actual profession?
Yeah.
Like this whole time, she came across as this meek character that really possibly was content on being a drug dealer or a hustler's girl. Yeah. But then we see the switch up and we're like, oh, she's not playing. Like I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm just a fan. I can't help it.
No, for sure. You can have your moment. Hey, since we're just throwing out moments, I actually thought a moment that isn't right on top of our recap, and we can go to Christine Horn, who is Mabel, which we're clearly going to have a lot to talk about with this character. Actually, folks, as we talk about Christine, maybe I'll just let y'all see a clip of that interview that we got with her. We'll just throw that in here right now, because that's what we do, folks. We'll be back 1 second. Psychoanalyze him. What would she say?
She would say that he needs more love, and she can provide that. But, you know, all jokes aside, too, it's the thing of, there's a lot of women out here who, and myself included at times, where we see the wounded puppy. We want to help them. We want to be the thing that, we want to be the game changer, the life changer. We want to be that person who helps. And I believe she operates from that place. Like even in episode 3.
All right, folks, back here for our recap. Quick little clip of the lovely Christine Horn, who's pretty much team Big Go Bell Media here. I mean, she's definitely made a spot here. But before, you know, I was about to talk about or show you the clip of our interview, which the whole interview is available now. And also, if you are subscribed and hit the notification bell, you see another interview available too. We'll talk about that later. But I love how Christine comes in as Mabel, and we see this very sexy, seductive, promiscuous side of her. And like, if you had not seen her act ever, you're just like, okay, I like this character. I like this performance. What is she up to? A little mystique to her. But then understand, when you look at her character in Snowfall and understanding how she can be a character. What was it? Is it Dallas? Or slipping out of my head right now. No, Dallas is our partner. Slipping out of my head.
Allison Diamond, I want to say.
Thank you.
Right?
Black Diamond and Diamond. Yeah, there we
go.
And understanding that this one person is giving you, and you can say, oh, they're two different shows, but yet they're in the same genre. This one person give you two different sides here that don't even remotely feel the same. Is just a testament to why she is the bookie magnet. You're going to see her with all of the Black girl magic, since I said that word, in all of these shows and many more shows beyond that. She's fantastic. Love her. And it's a pleasure to talk to her once again. Let's get right into our recap now, folks, starting off at the top. And I think, and I want you to keep in mind of this entire recap here is this drought that is happening is hurting everybody. So the drought plays a part in all of the decisions, the rationalities, the partnerships, even the introductions to new folks across the globe here, across the board, but yeah, whatever. So starting off this episode, we get a reflection of the Flannery family, in the car, and you gotta turn on that gospel, and then we see them older and they're kind of going back down this nostalgic lane of when they used to be in the car with their parents and how gospel seems to calm you down, that right there, I was like, yeah.
No, I'm not gonna say that.
been there.
I'm not gonna let people get away with that one. Gospel does not calm you down. I'm telling you now. It does not. It depends on what. I mean, Kurt Franklin was stomping people out in the 90s. I always remember.
It was a moment that brought the family all, that synergy amongst all of them. But we go right back into the interrogation room because Denise and the detectives, and now Denise is trying to figure out what's the deal with her. Oh, Lucas can't wait. He's like, oh, this is my scene right here. But they let her know. They say, listen, the only way you're getting out of this is if you help us. At this point now, you're never getting out. We know you work for the Flannery family car service. But are you transporting for Terry and Meech? Because we need to know. There's a difference here. And then sure enough, the lawyer come through. Would you like to take it away from here, sir?
Look, the immaculate, the amazing, the stunning. It's so many words I could think of. Monique, as she comes in and just commands all the attention like an 80s Olivia Pope as she walks into there. Hey, look, I was just in love the moment I saw her walk into that room, and it's just the command she had. Because one, I didn't know she was a lawyer. I was completely thrown off.
I think the jury's still out on this one.
Because it's the 80s and no one checked credentials in police stations. So she could be just a regular person. But the point that she came in there and then she made the offer, because we were left in the last episode wondering exactly how they would go about this with Denise. Like, would they just leave her out to dry? Would she have no other choice but to snitch? But here we get her talking to Monique and we get the offer thrown out there to her. I thought that was a very smart move. Because it shows that even though they knew, like, hey, you're going to have to do that time, it doesn't mean they couldn't dangle something that was highly important to her, which is her son and her son's education. Because we already know from last episode, that's the main reason she took the job, is to help pay for her son's education. So I think it was a nice synergy moment to bring it to full fruition of, like, what this character cares the most about. Like, Denise is all about her child and all about taking care of her child. And even in this messed up of a situation, she was still given a deal to do just that.
Yeah.
And then Cash Doll was there. So,
and as Monique said, these friends and whatnot, because listen, Cash Doll spoke in code this entire episode. So when she comes in and talk about friends, we can, this is easy to kind of decipher here. But they say, yeah, they're going to be covering fees. They're going to make sure your son and you're good. But if they go away, it's bad for all of us. So take a look at the offer and then let me know. Which is the other side of the coin here is that Denise didn't blow like they thought they were. So technically, I guess this makes Detective Jen still the driver because Brian didn't win here.
No, but remember, Brian's deal, it was that they were dirty. I don't think it was I get to nail them too. It was like, nah, they are dirty. Like, you can't, because Jen was like, oh, Terry's such a nice guy. And he's like, nah, He just as good as Meech is. Like, so yeah, no, Jen, you still got to ride passenger because you still believe that Terry was a good person.
Oh man. Next we get Terry and Meech. They go beat up their cousin. Because that whole thing of him stunting and messing up the whole little connected Cincinnati or Cleveland, wherever he's at. So they go beat him down, let him know that, we were hip to all this BS and you were skimming and all that. So they took the car and got on the road. So they went from Detroit to Cleveland, Cincinnati, which one, down to Atlanta. That's their whole
Detroit, Cleveland to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I swear that seems like a lot of driving to go out the way for ass whooping.
They needed the other car. They needed the other car because obviously everyone knows what car they have. But
yeah. So I mean, Lamar destroyed that car as much as humanly possible,
for sure. Lucille and Charles. Now, folks, for you all that put out that video of Charles entering the room last episode twice and said that BMF is on Tubi. Y'all are the funniest people on the entire planet. So this whole episode, I'm looking for stuff now. I'm like, oh, okay. Because if I'm watching Tubi, let me know.
And I never caught that. I never even saw that happen.
I still don't know if it's real,
the first one when he was mad. And then when they flipped around and he came back with the money, I was like, wait a minute. Nah. That has to be a trick. There's no way they did that in this show.
That got to be one of them AI bots or something. There's no way,
exactly.
Bro. There's no way.
This ain't all black. That ain't happening here.
But Lucille and Charles, it's time for the church retreat. Yeah, I know about them. And while Lucille's focus is faith and in the church, feels like the retreat is a good way to kind of get everything back in focus. Charles otherwise is like, listen, family and the business. So obviously the money and himself, that's what he's worried about, which we really, really know. Like, yeah, Charles had other plans.
2 years of you hating Charles and you still ain't gonna let that go, huh? Damn.
But you know what's funny? Lucille, who's been vastly insecure about her sex appeal, her relationship, and they can even almost say her position in the household, but she immediately goes and checks his stash spot because of course he's going to put it in the same spot, right? Just to find nothing. And that was the whole like, okay, fine, maybe he is like doing bad, but let's call it what it is, folks. If she had found something, Lucille would have turned this around. And
hold up. What did you think now I'm interested here. And audience, I'm going to ask you all too. He going to answer, but I'm going to ask y'all too. What did you all think when she didn't discover her magazines, what her thought process went to?
Okay, because I feel like
I know what I saw. I'm just wondering what you saw. And audience, what y'all saw from her looking for his spank bank. And when she did not find it, what did you think was the first thought that went through her head?
All right, so first thing I thought, like she was thinking like her woman's intuition went off because at this point now she feel like she can't be wrong. So she immediately goes to the spot because this is the spot her woman's intuition told her to go to, just to find out there was nothing there. So she ate a piece of humble pie, but she'll never tell anybody that's what happened. So she immediately says,
okay,
for sure. She immediately says like, oh, not there. So I guess we're good. It's just a thing.
No. Oh man. She saw it wasn't there and thought, if he's not using those anymore, who is he sleeping with?
That's true.
That's why she went off like, we got to go on this church retreat. Now I got to find out what they're going on. Because if you're not, you ain't doing that, you got to be doing something. You got to be relieving yourself in one way. So she probably thought, if he ain't, doing what he got to do, he got to be doing it with somebody else.
Oh yeah, and also like not to really change my thoughts, but like when you think more about it and how the events of this episode kind of transpired, it definitely went from like, okay, cool, you're good here, but I'm still on to you, type of thing. Like you won this battle, but the war is not over.
I'm just mad that she went after his magazines. Like, that's the first thing you think is,
I mean,
I'm gonna take your smut.
It's literally like an obsession to like get him dead to rights here, because like the fact that her mind thought instantly like, oh, you're not going on a retreat, so I need to find your porn stash is wild. It's wild, bro.
Because he was about to have a time at home with them.
So the real thought is, what if he was going? Then what would her thought have been? The same thing. It would have been, she still would have went off on sister, what's her name? We'll get to it. I got it in my notes somewhere. Yeah. But sister somebody who definitely out here. Hey, have you seen those magazine with the church AI bots where they're trying to get folks back into the church? So they're using these promiscuous looking AI bots for advertisement,
which is absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Jeez. Those mega churches in Atlanta, man, it's a wild place.
Hey, they gonna get you
in Brooklyn.
Hey, I'm about to say, well, no, he didn't have a mega church. He just choked people out mega Lee, not a mega church. Hey, hold up, why was it Charles? Charles didn't have a single Jet magazine. I noticed that. This little spank bank. It's the 80s. Man, you used to get it off the Jet Beauty of the Week.
One photo. Listen, that's how backed up Charles is, because that one photo wasn't gonna get it done. but then again, all it took for him was one stroke to get it off.
I'm about to say that's it. Twice. Oh, my man got under 10 strokes in 2 sex scenes. That is ridiculous, Joe.
Oh man, they going. Black Twitter is about to have ball with this one, bro.
They even let Braden get off more strokes. We're like, what's going on with Charles, man?
Oh man, oh boy, Russell. Good luck, bro. It's gonna be a rough 7 days. Anyway, going back to Meech and Terry. So Meech and Terry are worried about Denise, and they want to make sure that she does take the offer. Otherwise, they're SOL. And at the same time, too, the brothers are trying to get on the same page as Meech throws out Terry's school books and say, get your head in the game, not in school, as they're continuing to be off to ATL. We got Lamar back at the scene of the crime here. So he's back at the glizzy spot. And y'all know what glizzies are, right? All right, well, if you don't,
you don't, you up here with the glizzy king. Dead. Big gold belt.
Dead. Dead. Lamar's the glizzy king. He had 2 fully loaded making people pay up to him while he cocking and throwing them joints.
Hey, my man Lamar was out that joint like Terrell, like double fisted, Joe.
But he's back at the scene of the crime, and he's letting folks know he runs the street now. And yeah, he became the chain collector, because no matter if they had any bit of continuity, he snatched everybody's shit, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
But
ghetto Thanos, Joe.
And the devil himself is unleashed back in Detroit. Now in Atlanta, which I easily recognize, Atlanta Underground Station, Underground Mall, or whatever it's called. They meet with Earl, who we also got to meet at the red carpet. So this is our first real reveal. Not reveal. This is our first real introduction of Earl. I mean, yes, as he mentioned, we got to see Earl briefly and quickly in Vegas, which is episode 1. So now we kind of understand how Earl operates, seeing him in his habitat and so on. But like I said, since they're meeting in Vegas and Meech put his body on the line to get the drugs out and whatnot, and then he's how's everything with K9 and whatnot, and then he mentioned the predicament here. The Flannery brothers got 15 G's to their name. They need to get some money. So what can they do? And Earl takes him to girls, which aka Magic City. It's really not Magic City. I feel like I've seen that building before, though.
I don't look like Irvin's.
I don't know. But I thought
it was 80s though.
Yeah. I thought they was going to like use Magic City's building, but I guess maybe that's just too recognizable. I don't know how long has Magic City been in.
It feels like forever.
Well,
but it had to be in the 90s, early 2090s.
I was gonna say, well, we're going to get to Magic City at some point in the show, because I mean, we got to get to Party Meech, you know, so but yeah, that right here is like when you start to think about the Meech we know Meech to become, him coming into the club and kind of breezing through, not really looking, and like, why are we here when we need to be making money? Understand that whole dynamic is quickly about to go out the window, because my man go like, we should be here. But Terry, on the other hand, still going to keep the same posture. Like, nah, this not the move. Charles, because you know, they're getting ready to get to going in the retreat. So you got Charles and his her name's somewhere down here in my notes, but I'll get in a second. Y'all can just jump in the comments, let me know. The church lady. And the church lady is definitely
gonna get on you for keep on calling her the church lady.
Is there another name we should give her besides her real name? Because there's
Jezebel.
definitely a couple of names. So let me just find what her name is real quick so we can. Sister Riley. There we go. Got it. So Sister Riley, who definitely be crossing lines here, you know, be filling my man Charles up, but Lucille peep game, and she makes it very clear, because he said, "Oh, you should come to retreat." He's not coming, but Lucille makes sure that she gives her baby some lovey-doveys before. But also, as you mentioned, this seems to be a part of her plan, because she already knew Charles wasn't gone, but she gonna make sure that Sister Riley know that that's mine. And we got the scene we needed later on. But to this point now, what is your thoughts about where you thought this conversation was going to go, or this moment that we eventually get out? What was the gears kind of turning here?
I kind of thought it would go in this direction. I thought they would show possibly the retreat, and so Lucille approached her on the retreat about her thinking that she was sleeping with Charles, because it was clear from day one. That was the key part here. Sister Riley seems to be a little flirtatious.
A little,
but just a little flirtatious. Because in all honesty, if you look at her actions, I think what happened is we understood that Charles was possibly in his feelings for her, so we kind of took that off on her. But if you actually look at the things she did, it was way more about being supportive to Charles. And like, hey, I'm here for you. You want to talk to somebody? We can talk. We can pray about it. And we just took that as, you know, Jezebel, Mary Magdalene, and like everything bad about a church woman here. And even Lucille took that as the case. And she said, like, I see how y'all look at each other when y'all working on songs. Like, come on, Joe. I ain't got to sleep with everybody that I work with.
Well, but let's call it what it is. Somebody had to crawl so somebody could walk. And this was Sister Riley doing the crawling so that Mabel could walk, because it was only a little bit longer.
Mabel was already walking. Mabel was fine. Mabel had her mind made up. Mabel knew she was gonna get her man. Sister Riley was just stuck in between, trying to be a nice church woman, trying to learn her little hymns and stuff. Charles with his little smutty magazines was trying to turn her out. See, it's on Charles. I keep on telling. I've been telling for the moment. Charles is the bad guy here. It ain't Sister Riley. She was innocent. Charles with his devil's music, playing the guitar, he was tempting her in ways he shouldn't have. That's all that was.
Hey, we're going back to Atlanta now. We got the Flannery brothers talking about their women, and you know, we got Meech with Lori and Monique Cash Doll. Shout out to Lucas. And then we have Terry, and well, you can see he's kind of operating a little bit different, because, you know, Markeisha is in the picture, but he didn't name drop her, which obviously would have brought about another different conversation, knowing that Markeisha is Boom's girl, and, you know, Meech would have definitely had to say the same thing he said to Terry last episode. You stupid. And yeah, that wouldn't have been a good one here. So now we're at the scene where we get our first introduction to Monique as Goldie, who runs shit, as she says. There's a lot of different kind of things kind of going on here. First of all, this wild motherfucker in the joint talking about he don't take orders from bitches. And I listen, like, just off like principle here. I don't care who the character Goldie was, but there's no way you're about to have an introduction of anybody that Monique is playing and this person across from him says, I don't take orders from bitches, and don't think that Monique's not going to go off. That script could have been written anyway, but for sure it was going to make sure that it reflected who Monique is, not that character.
It was even worse. It wasn't even just I don't take orders from bitches. He said, find something to do with your mouth before I give you something to do with your mouth. He was utterly disrespectful, but I love the way Goldie handled his disrespect.
Yeah.
Because he's a regular.
Yeah.
She just did what she had to do.
Yep. And Meech, you know, said like I ain't never seen a woman holding down like that. And yeah, I can tell y'all not from around here with y'all rat tails and whatnot. But you know, this is the idea of Terry saying, let's get into a dice game. Let's get some action. They say, hey, I want some action. Let's give him some action. And he said, you need mama to blowing it for some luck. And Southwest all day as he throws the dice. And yeah. Did you think that the dice were cooked the entire time?
Oh yeah, they showed it. When he had the stick and he moved, they had one pair of dice, he moved them Jones and put the other pair right there. At that point, I knew they were loaded. Like it was the setup. And again, I think she says it later on, like they didn't peep game. This ain't Detroit. It's Atlanta. Like you didn't peep what they were doing the whole time. And they did it right in front of your face, so you should have been able to see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it was a setup. That's what Goldie does at Goldie's spot. Like, nah, you're not gonna be new and walking here and think you're gonna walk away with money. That's not the way this works.
Yeah, the thing about the Flannery brothers here is that like this episode had been like a lesson learned, and we'll talk about the moment that the two of them have together. But like, yeah, they definitely had to you know get got in order to learn from these situations, in order to kind of flip their sort of their fate on some of these things. Which you know, well, I'll talk specifically when we get to them. But like, yeah, there's a couple of times this episode where like you see them take a L to come back and get the dub. So. Mabel and Charles. Well, Charles is back fixing things. Said he'll be done in a few days. Okay. Mabel talks about how they've been so neighborly to her since she's moved in after her divorce. Sir, what is wrong with this scene here?
Charles fixing. I just got to ask a question. I just saw him on the ladder. I'm like, is he putting up a shelf? Is he putting away her groceries? I wasn't sure what Charles was fixing. All I kept on thinking is, see, this is the problem with Lucille. You worried about Charles Spank Bank. You worried about Sister Riley, who is as innocent, as humble as apple pie. And here you have a snake in your garden, and you're not paying her any attention. Like, it's weird that the one that we thought would be the obvious one that Charles would want is the one that's the most innocent. And that's still, we're seeing it through the eyes of Lucille as the audience. Because we clearly thought Riley would be, Sister Riley would be the one who would get Charles the most, but it's Mabel the whole time. Like she just offer him everything humanly possible, down to the little, just come out. You deserve to have fun.
Sure, I'm wrong.
You may deserve to have fun. But when you with a woman and another woman tells you deserve to have fun, just know that she planning on sleeping with you. Just know, because those ain't normal words.
There's so much funny about this because one, him saying he'll be done in a few days, I'm like, bro, like, come on now. My man is clearly trying to extend his interactions here. Like you can tell there's like a sense of him being uncomfortable but unsure because obviously he's about to go down uncharted territories here. But a few days here to be done, yeah, okay. And then their whole thing, y'all been so nice to me since I moved in. Okay, cool. After my divorce, okay. Indicators here, yeah. So in layman's terms, it says I've been so lonely. But thank you for keeping me company since I've been single. And Charles said, no problem. I'll be here a few days a week to get this shelf done.
Exactly. Yeah. The shelf that looked like it's already done.
Already done.
Come back and finish it.
Funny, it's taking him a week to finish the shelf, but took him a day to do a ceiling fan.
Still ain't fixed that hole in the front door either, did he? That hole he punched probably still there.
Hey, somebody in the comments last week said Charles got a thing with walls, man. He ain't fixed that paint, and he got the hole. He in the dog.
Hey.
It's
After
facts.
this episode, they can really say he clearly got a thing with walls.
Oh, we get Detective Bryant and his son, and his son gets got for his Nike, and then we start to have the conflict between the son and Detective Bryant. Detective Bryant, who, yes, it's his son, but his sort of overbearing personality is the same thing he's had with everybody he's been around. B. Mickey, his other partner, he's trying it with Detective Jen, she's not having it. And then obviously with his son, which he says, like, listen, like, why don't you ever listen to what I want? And your answer ain't always the right answer. And as Detective Bryant looks to find ways to end everything that's happening with his son, and be the dad, you know, and quote unquote, he's not really listening nor respecting his son's wishes. And there's a lot to kind of take from this, because, like, granted, you can say, like, oh, if his son's being bullied, then he should definitely go to school to cease this. But, like, we all know how this works, because if every parent went to go to protect their kid, ended bullying, then there wouldn't be no bullying in the world. But this obviously only could elevate or make things just drastically worse, or just different, in other words, but not better. What's your thoughts about the interaction between him and his son now?
I'm all for you saying, you know, you're not listening to me. You don't care what I want, is what you want. I fully understood that. And as a dad, I would be all for it if you had shoes on. The point someone took your shoes, we are not having that type of conversation. That ain't wrong. That's the wrong time and wrong place for that conversation. As you stand in front of me with no shoes and you telling me I'm not listening to you. Nigga, you don't have shoes on because someone took them. We're gonna have to do something about that. But I did like just the overall conversation when he's like, I'm not you. Because that's been Brian's biggest fear, is that he's so well respected. He's this tough guy. He wants his son to be that. And he's like, I just can't be that for you. That's not who I am. I did love the innocence of that comment and at that moment. But again, you don't have on shoes. Like, we can't, everything else goes out my mind when you don't have shoes on, because I have a problem now. And then he said, like, I walked to you barefoot. Like, are you joking? Like, I did think Detective Bryant, Steve, did a great job at just showing his composure here, because we've always seen Bryant blow up. But here he did take a minute to decompress, to understand I still need to be his father. As mad as I am, I still need to be his father. Like, so I did like that element of it. But again, I mean, we can't talk until you get shoes on. If you'd have came with shoes on, we could have had that whole conversation.
Facts. Okay. We'll get back to that in 1 second. We got Lamar.
I mean, have you ever been robbed of your shoes, my brother?
Never.
Yeah.
And the time that I almost got. I got the hell out of that. One and done.
I have never been robbed of shoes. I have been on a side of someone losing shoes, and it didn't look like it was a fun experience that said individuals went through when losing pairs of shoes, and while I was possibly around in the presence of it. So I couldn't imagine like having to go to a parent, especially one as stern as Brian is with his child, and having to tell that parent, like, somebody took things from me, and not understand, especially back then in this point in the 80s, where you couldn't even get beat up without your parents saying, like, if they whoop your ass and you come home and you don't fight back, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Like, it's the toxic side of masculinity that is shown here. But they did a great job with Detective Brian in the end, understanding, like, this isn't what my son needs. Like, it's acceptance. That's what I'm looking for. That's the way to put it. It's the final acceptance of Brian. You really see him accepting who his son is. And him understanding at this point, if you're not gonna do it, I'm just gonna have to do it for you.
Yeah, I've never got my shoes taken, never had my Eddie Bauer snatched, never got my Averets taken. All good childhood. But I damn sure had the one time they tried me for my shoes. Like I said, I got feet. I got a lot of this.
They hit you with the hey, homie, what size you wear?
My size.
That's like the hey, I was a little knucklehead too. I was a big knucklehead. Hey, man, what size you wear? Nigga, I wear your size.
I ain't gonna say I was that bold. I had to be around some folks to do that because man will try to catch you when you by yourself.
Yeah, oh man, in a heartbeat. Rhode Island Avenue back in the days, new Union Station back in the day, City Place Mall. Again, you from Denver, these places. Very dangerous places to wear things and items of clothing at if you wanted to walk out with them Jones too.
Oh, but gentrified DC is fine. I mean, you can go around Trinidad. One hood I would never have went around. Trinidad is very peaceful, shall I say?
Hey, lots of non-POCs walking dogs at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's amazing around there.
Wildness.
Get your head shot off in that joint in the 90s, but all of a sudden, put one little coffee shop there. It's all it takes, man.
Not to get off subject here, but I tell you, like back I remember when I first started driving and going around Trinidad, and some of my boys had some chicks in the city. Find out they were from Trinidad. Oddly enough, Trinidad had a lot of dead ends that aren't really dead ends now. And I was driving around them now. I'm like, I thought this was a dead end. Sure enough, never was.
The neighborhood made them dead ends, Joe.
Just a lot of GPS rerouting without GPS that didn't exist.
Hey, you just knew better.
Don't come down the street, homie. It's just like all right.
all the time, Joe. Oh, those were the days.
Yeah. All right, so Lamar the chain collector, who doesn't have to pay for glizzies now, as Alvin
get all the glizzies he wants, Joe.
Alvin feels slighted, but it's for the better good, Alvin. It's for the better good. But like as he said, he's getting what he deserves. So understand that Lamar has been really receptive to criticism and advice. We see Lamar sort of turning the page in the betterment of himself, which is a crazy thing to say, but besides him going back, letting all the folks that he used to run with know that he's back in charge, everybody else he came in interaction with, it's been pretty civil to the glizzy transporter, aka the guy that work at the restaurant, Lucille, which we'll talk about.
That's so disrespectful, Joe.
Well, the glizzy technician, shall I call? He's constructing them.
The glizzy delivery man. Wow, that was even worse.
And even with Monique, man, we just seen him just kind of very like chill. But we'll see what that means later on. So Meech and Terry, they're broke. They're trying to figure out why they're in Atlanta. We'll get an answer to that later. But Meech is saying everything that's meant to be is going to happen. Brian, Detective Brian goes to see Kevin's administrator, Kevin's son. And because Kevin did not open up his mouth about what happened to him,
they can do about it.
Yeah, Kevin ain't snitching. Dude's looking down the hall, looking at him, but the administrator ain't nothing he can do about it. He ain't gonna say anything, then nothing happened then. So there's that. It's Atlanta, folks, and if it's Atlanta, of course we're gonna get, which should have been T.I.'s role, but apparently he didn't get it, in Nick Cannon's drumline scene here, because you can't go to Atlanta without some drumline. Sir,
impossible.
What's your thoughts about, shall we say, the explanation? What is your thoughts about really the I can't even think of the word I want to use here, but like as they try to show the polar differences between Atlanta and Detroit. What's your thoughts about, shall we say, our introduction to Atlanta? Everybody know what Atlanta is now, but like understand the difference between the two cities here. What's your thoughts about the introduction of Atlanta, the Black Mecca?
I mean, it was great to show it that way. For Atlanta, you gotta show it based off of a college. Like that's what Atlanta is based off.
Also, I want to say, would this be considered Battle of the Bands? You think was happening there? Because they were at the stadium.
They were, but that could have just been a regular football game.
Facts.
Like, yeah, like it could have been a regular football game. So, I mean, it was a great introduction just to show everybody that we are in a different area, but also that we are in a different time frame than what people may be accustomed to seeing from Atlanta now versus to Atlanta back then.
Yeah.
Like, again, it just shows just the difference between Atlanta and Detroit and how you have to move differently in both. Meech said it best. Like, man, like, y'all got black people everywhere. Like, the only thing in the stadium that wasn't black was lines on the field. Like, that's a real statement to make because for someone from where he's from, it's completely opposite. Right. But this helps give you the pride of like, yeah, man, I got black pride. Like Clark or Spell or whatever college this was supposed to be, it worked well. Yeah. Showing just the drum line and how it captivates everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and like there's a lot of tidbits being thrown around here. You know, understand that everything in Atlanta is black. As we, you know, as Terry made some type of funny joke about people earlier, but like regardless of what he said, understand that Atlanta is very different than Detroit. And yet you can openly be visible about stunting. You can have
it's going to be a completely different place, but visible about stunting, openly visible about stunting.
Yep, you can show your dollars, your cars, whatever it is. Everybody down there getting it. And it ain't the same now. And honestly, when I first started to go down to Atlanta, that was the first thing I noticed is that, like, I think when foreigners come to America and they think that New York is like the city that, I can't wait to see, I don't know, random celebrity person A, and you never do see them. Atlanta is that for black folks. You randomly do see random people in any random spot at any given day at any given time. Waffle House, Chick-fil-A, the clubs, anywhere. I've ran into so many random people. Like, what are they doing here? Right,
it's Atlanta. You ain't got nothing else to do.
Yeah. So, it's truly like eye-opening to them. But like again, while this is like a cool moment, right? Understanding like Meech is sucking this all in right now and realize like, I'm at some point because he's gonna come back.
And we know. We know.
So Monique calls and says, listen, we're gonna need that contribution soon, you know, for Denise and whatnot. And as I said, they're talking in code the entire time here. Which is cool because like beyond it just being cool because of it being in code, it's truly understand that while Monique has just kind of been just the baby mom, she's legit. And as she says, like, listen, don't get it twisted. I saved the company, but don't think I won't save my ass either. Over all of this,
she was very clear about that one. Like, I'm gonna make sure I'm good. Which again, this is why you love Monique and Cash Doll. Like, I'm rooting for her to stay alive this whole time. She's an amazing character that we can't wait to see more of. STARZ. Need to put her up there with Baby Yaz and Nicole. After that is Monique. Those are three we need to see more of.
Okay.
Hey man, look here. Any time I get to talk about Cash Doll, I'm going to talk about Cash Doll. You gotta understand that, okay?
I'm gonna give you a moment.
Hey, that's all that is. And no, I think she's an amazing actress. Halle Berry level, even better, possibly. I don't understand how she does not have an Oscar yet. I'm still questioning it after this amazing performance in this episode here.
All right, that's about 1 minute, so not too bad. You and Charles doing a damn thing in this episode. Anywho, we get Denise in the detective room, and I'm sorry, we get the detectives within the boardroom, and they're talking about Denise, and they say, "Hey, lawyer." Went to the DA and they agreed to get a plea of possession of less than 650 grams. So she's eating the charges. And we get Detective Timmons, who's up, and he refocuses everybody's attention to Big L, who's missing. And well, Lawrence Kennedy, aka K9, is the biggest person of interest here. So we're going to look like we got a dual investigation kind of going on here, which is cool. As we mentioned, more K9. It's been good for business.
Hey, that's all we need at this point, man. He's he's been a big bad for this whole season so far. And his presence is still being felt.
Yep.
Even off episodes he's not in.
Yep. So we got Jen and Brian and Jen holding Brian accountable. Transparency ain't just about the job, it's about life. And said, listen, you're going to listen to me because maybe it's something that can help your ass. And we get Jen opening up about her sister, who was a victim of domestic violence, was beat to death.
Worst way, yeah.
And like that story too, while it sounds horrific, this story is very normal of the person who had cried for help and didn't get the sort of support and services that they needed, and eventually this got worse too. It became
fatal. Their life because of it. Yeah.
And she's go ahead.
But I say it was a hell of a story by Jen, just to help again show the connection of possibly the things what Brian sees with his son, what's going on.
Yeah. And she said this is why she became a cop, and I was just kind of like, oh, that's kind of a letdown in the story here. But I like how she spun it around though, because she says because we need help for the folks that look like us. Okay, I can get with that, but I also think that she made the most important point, which is probably the only thing I can ever agree with anybody being a cop. Is saying that listen, if we can go out there and clean the trash off the streets, because that's mostly what cops focus is, but if we can't make a safer place for the people we love, then what are we doing? That right there, I mean, we don't have the time to talk about it, but God, if that ain't the honest to God truth, these folks who got this authority complex of that they, the man on the street because of this and that on their chest, and they go out there and they do all this dumb shit on the streets, which we see time and time again. Talk about this right now. Don't even talk about that should make me emotional. But no need understanding that mindset goes back into a household, and kids, spouses, and all sorts of relatives and whoever falls victim to the shit. And I'm like, see, that's the truth right there. That line right there, beyond powerful. And I think that it's probably going to get overlooked because a lot of folks and a lot of the fans in this definitely look for the drama, who gets killed and da. Yeah. But this is a major tidbit right here about when you talk about policing in a way that just makes sense. Sure, go out there and do the job, blah 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 blah. But hey, if you can't protect the people you love,
what's the point?
What's the point?
What's the point? It's a great correlation that she put up there.
And the two of them, as Brian said, it needs time to clear their head. I agree with you all, folks. Kelly and Steve needs a spinoff. There's more BMF shows coming. I can get with this. I could really get with this. Have them working on other cases. I don't know how they do it, but granted, make it happen. Because man, I am all.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I think at this point we're all for Detective Brian, Detective Jen spinoff after Monique gets her spinoff though.
Okay, right. Yep. That is you're getting close to 2 minutes, so you gonna break Charles' record here. So speaking of Monique, we get Lamar going to see Monique, and Lamar pulls out his bag because he said, "Oh, you got me fucked up, man." Because of Meech, and Monique makes it very clear, listen, man, after what you did in front of Zoe, you're never gonna touch me again. You need to get the hell away from me, etc. But Lamar definitely was saying some truthful things here. Listen, he almost died. He got a second chance at life. He's trying to get a second chance with his family. Zoe's scared of him. Everyone's scared of him.
Yeah.
And Monique's not hearing all
his
that.
Family and Zoe's not even his. Every time he says that, I go back to the point that that's not even his daughter.
But I think Lamar is trying to turn a page in this very sinister, sadistic human he is. I mean, his street stuff is his street stuff, but I feel like he's trying to show another side to him. But besides him being able to sing and hit his Caribbean joints and Glock Glizzies, it seems like we're starting to see him like actually try to be humanized a little bit here, because like he was upset and he didn't go off right here, but I gotta commend Monique for doing what she was supposed to do. She showed no fear and she made it very clear in the boundaries. Ain't coming through in this joint no more, brother. It's over.
No more. Like, hey, none of that is feasible at this point.
Were you about to sing 3LW?
Promises?
Yeah.
It's a nigga.
I
was not.
Yes, you were
about to say promises. I was not. I guarantee
I heard
you
say no more, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. Okay, well, B Mickey and Bryant, man. B Mickey's getting his door knocked off the hinges because Bryant comes in and says, I need you to do something else. I mean, to quickly sum this up, B Mickey goes off to be the hitman for Bryant to go beat up the boys who bullied his son. And B Mickey made a statement, which is funny about this because he said, what you gonna do about us? 3 of us to 1. Okay, sir. So I'm gonna need you to check your friends here because they did nothing.
There you go.
They suckers. They suckers. Real suckers. And B Mickey definitely was out now. Didn't even have to pull out the strap or anything. Came up, G-checked them and stomped them to the ground, made it very clear. Leave them alone, and that's what it is,
You can't recover from being boys with somebody get your ass whooped that bad.
It ain't. It's
friendship's over.
Yeah. Yeah. Reminds me of college. I remember this girl. This group of 3, and one got beat up real bad. And that's the last time I seen the 3 of them all hang up. Girl got her face put in the mud. It was sad. It was sad because I was like watching, and her friends were right there just watching too. And I'm like,
because kids are punks. Like, I understand you have friends, but nah, man, I don't want to get punched for you, especially at like their age. Nah, you on your own, homie. I'll take that ass whooping.
I don't know if any of my college friends watch my channel. I know I do know some. I definitely know some, but I mean like the ones I was like, yeah, they're gonna probably know exactly what fight I'm talking about because that's a wild fight. Shout out to my girl, Lil Steph. I haven't seen her in a while. That's who beat the girl down. I ain't gonna shout out who got beat.
You snitching on your. Now, if you all would like more stories of Nature snitching on his past, just go.
Lil Steph, man. She had those hands. Anywho, going back to Meech and T, and they are with Ty, who Ty told them, like, look, this is my crib. We ain't got nothing to hide because we are hiding in plain sight. They get the meeting. He asked about Pint, who can turn 1 into 2. They got the Nintendo posted up.
Who can turn 1 into 2.
Yeah, and he said, listen, I need you to front me 10 keys, but hey, listen, the drought, folks. You can't be asking for anything like this, man. It can't be. No one can make these type of
consignment.
Yeah,
on consignment.
Yeah, these type of favors and show at this point witchcraft ain't happening right now, my guy.
Because they sure enough ain't asking for normal favors. Not like, can I get a brick? They came in that joint heavy. Nah, we need 10 of them joints already, man. Your head need to be just ready. Like you're like, what the fuck? You know what? That's cool. I understand.
Oh man, we coming up on our time quick, almost at the hour. So let me get through some of this stuff. Cool. We got my man Charles coming up to the party, looking real nervous, little out of place here. But Mabel got
his nice little Cosby sweater on.
Hey,
he ready for it.
Hey, you came, and all I seen was trouble out of this situation because Charles is looking hella nervous. But if that wasn't a bigger enough indication, Charles was offered a drink. I don't drink. Listen, you're a grown man. If one drink turns you into an animal, I will get you under control. And then my man Charles gets his ass grabbed. I feel like, listen, folks, I know I'm gonna go through this, but I have to say, like, this is a setup by Mabel here. That girl that grabbed her ass, this is a plot. Y'all women are tricky, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were all in cahoots with one another. Says, listen, I want you to come by to make him uncomfortable so I can have him step off with me, and then I'm gonna really go in for the kill. And it worked.
The point that he said, I don't drink, and she said, oh, you're a grown man. You need like what? That's not a reply. That's not a reply that makes sense. You can't try to embarrass me into drinking. You're a grown man, and if you get out of control, I'll put you back in your place. Yeah. Charles knew then. Like at that point, he knew then, like, oh shit, I know where this is going. I got my slacks on, I got my Cosby sweater on. I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, speaking
of
Cosby,
experience.
yeah, speaking of Cosby, Charles' brother had complied because Mabel was one step away from Bill Cosby and him. Charles would have woke up.
Hold up.
In a whole nother dimension.
Did Mabel give him a Quaalude? Did she give him a Quaalude in the drink? Oh man.
Jeez.
That's disrespectful.
Such a fun scene. Such a fun scene. So we get everybody coming up from the retreat. Sister Riley gets cornered eye to eye. Look at me, sister. Are you sleeping with my husband? And you know, like you said, I see how y'all looking at each other and all that, and I showing him your reason and all that. Don't play me like a fool. And pretty much ensures that is nothing. So I guess Lucille is 0 for 2 for the answer she's looking for. And she ain't really looking for answers. She's just trying to put her stuff right. Yeah. So there's that. We get Goldie leaving the Girls Club. Headlights in the front. Meech and Terry rolls up beside them and says, listen, we need your help, essentially. We want to win back that money we lost. And ain't nothing free. It's Atlanta. She said, listen, once we good, we're gonna make sure you good, and we're gonna go holler at Mike and Bankhead, who ain't with no cute shit. So they about to get into a real big baller dice game here. Mabel reassures Charles that you're allowed to have a good night. You don't have to rush out, Charles. And well, folks, this is the moment where you had to cover your kid's eyes, because
instead of rushing out, he rushed in.
Yes, he did, and rushed out. As they many emphasis on his wedding ring. I mean, the camera made sure, in case y'all, for whatever reason now, 15 episodes. He was
right. You knew then. My man got it out the party and shot the club up and left.
My man grabbed his pants so quick. I mean, Mabel didn't even get a chance to turn around, gave him a little smirk, and Charles was already back home. my man Charles Goku instant transmission and was out of that joint. He's like 1, 2, out. It was gone. My man was out, man. When you talking about the creeps in the night, Charles, because my man was out.
The shame he felt after doing such things of that nature. I would say shame. But then the next time we see Charles, that did not look like shame upon his face. It looked like pure joy.
It's hard to understand how somebody who was nervous now for 3 scenes gets in front of washing the dishes, and my man's like, yeah, did that. My man, to make sure he had no glitter on his face or anything.
I didn't know if he was at the sink when he like, yeah, and then he washed his hands out.
Oh boy, Pastor Swift gonna have to have a talk with this unholy actions of Mr. Charles Flannery here. Yeah, Charles laughing in his head was so funny, so funny.
Hey, that was the best moment here of that encounter, is his reaction to it afterwards.
Yeah,
because it wasn't necessarily the guilt of doing it. It wasn't the I'm fine. It was. He was at peace with everything.
Yeah.
He knew, like, this is something I kind of wanted.
Yeah.
And he got what he wanted. It's just not something that should have happened.
Yeah. It's and like, you know, I jumped the scene. We'll come back in a second, but like, yeah, he was nervous as hell. The family come back. Nicole definitely didn't have a fun at the retreat, but Lucille comes back. Clearly reminds me when I was younger, hated church retreats. God, I hated them joints. But Lucille comes in and apologizes, and I'm sure Charles wasn't expecting that, but here we are. Now everything's awkward now because Lucille seems like she's ready to like get things back on track, you know. So
you got to get it up before Cialis and everything that we got in mod medicine. I was waiting for the bring up or just visually for us to see that he was picturing someone else when he was with Lucille.
Oh, for sure. That or
it. Yeah, but yeah, I wanted
that
to
or
see
struggling.
And that's what I was expecting. But my man ain't had nothing in months. Like, I can get both of these off and be perfectly fine.
Yeah, what's 2 minutes, man?
You've been very nice with 2 minutes.
2 minutes is about the average time for a rock, paper, scissors game. Like, he wasn't doing too bad, man. Anyway, going back, they go to see Fat Mike and Rico, aka Meech, and we got some folks out here ready to bet high stakes, and Fat Mike looking nervous. Now, granted, I was a little curious about this because, like, when I saw them introduce Rico, and I was like, wait, isn't Terry playing? And I didn't realize they devised a plan where Terry slides in, focuses on Meech, and the two of them working together, betting together,
playing off of each other. Yeah.
They use the loaded dice. They get burnt. And T calls it out. Southwest all day, hits the 7, and Monique calls her shot and said, "Listen, you don't got to worry about my ass no more. Don't question me because you know who I am." And game over. They take their money and they roll out. So the three of them, they ran game, did what they did. Fat Mike was pissed, shut the game down, and that's what it was. But hey, we got the trio.
Hey, all you do is run that one more time back. They said, "Oh, I'll shoot you." But we understood coming into this that Terry clearly knew how to play craps. He's been begging to win back the money for the crew ever since.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like, we went from Terry losing the money to gaining the money back. We go from them, not having any drugs to gaining drugs, not knowing how to whip, learning how to whip. There's a lot of just whole, like, why are we down in Atlanta only to come and learn so much? They gain so much knowledge, experience, contacts, connections, all that sorts of different things. So they kind of set up a little base, but we'll see. But anyway, the Hot Potato Boys, as they say, they come back with the cash and
lots of cash from a dice game. That's a lot of cash from a dice game.
Yeah. But he said how much for the whip method, and Ty Washington, their boy, who talks about his specific skill set. More people that finds out is the less special he becomes. Very true about everything. But they
especially about this epidemic at a way, like that was the key part. Like you can control it when you only want to know the formula.
Yep, high commodity. They had to pay a price for a bird. Hey, Lucas, folks want you to explain what a bird is. Okay, cool.
It's a something on it's an Oreo.
Yeah. They said, listen, we'll take you off, and listen, they said, like, yeah, I can respect you. If I took that much off Mike, then y'all must be some real ones and whatnot. And they said, listen, like, we're going to give everything, the pink slip, the car, all the money. We're going to take everything we can, give them the keys, the pink slip. We're out. Terry, again, not focusing on the right things. So you sell my shit, but they can always get more cars. Come on now.
But was it like a connection thing for Terry?
Hell,
I didn't fully understand his reaction to, like, dude, we need the money. Like, in the end, where would you think the money's coming from?
They're just not, they wasn't fully trusting each other till they had the conversation, till after it was done. And I think you needed to have that because while Meech has been very much like, listen, you lost all our money, my money, those other stuff. It's just the brothers doing the brother stuff, So but yeah, Hot Potato Boys, they I can't remember. No, it's not. We'll learn about it in a second. Sure. About what they learned from Pint, aka Ty Washington. Oh, well, Ty is the guy, and the guy that's doing it is Pint. So
Pint, way to learn how to cook crack. Terry did, at least.
Yeah. One scene later. But folks, at 12 o'clock every night on the radio, Moments of Love.
Hey, this how you knew it was about to be sexy time. The moment you hear that do 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 do, you knew that. You're like, oh shit.
All I was thinking to myself was like, oh man, this is, first of all, everyone knows this song.
No one knows who made it, but everybody knows the song.
Yeah. 12 o'clock, you can guarantee that there's three things that's gonna happen in life. You're gonna die, you're gonna pay taxes, and this song coming on at 12 o'clock at night.
Love talking slow jams. That's all it takes.
Lucille and Charles, and like we said earlier, we're pretty sure Charles was going to fumble the ball here, without a doubt. And actually, well, no, Charles was looking nervous, but also Lucille was looking very happy. And that's it. There's no dramatics here yet. I know something's coming up from this next week.
Oh,
I know it is.
Yo, hey, it's already set up for something to be coming up for. And that's the good part about this, is that it's with this episode, they use a lot to set up the relationships that we should see in the upcoming episodes, and that's the best part of it all.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I thought I was like, Charles gonna call her Mabel. I
was waiting for it. I was like, but he didn't call Mabel. So I'm like, okay, so maybe he's not gonna call her Mabel.
Yeah,
he had time to. That was too many letters. He'd have got Mabel.
Ma. Anywho, but Charles got to go back because he still got more days of work to finish that show. Or does he no-show her? No, not a chance, folks. Y'all know he's gonna be back there. Come on now, it's Charles now. But Pint says, listen, man, when you whipping, you gotta treat the cocaine like a girl. Got to talk to her. And Terry learned how to whip.
Love. He's making love to the formula.
Yep. And Meech is hella proud.
That's necessary, but it's
Meech is hella proud here.
Good thing to have. Yeah.
And I think that, like, while there's questions about how I do it, understand that Terry is the smart one. Him picking up on all of these things really quickly, it's no brainer. So I like that, how it's very much assertive that this is clearly Terry's wheelhouse here. So anywho, B Mickey rolls up on Marcus, said leave Kevin Bryan alone. We already talked about that. Those dudes are suckers, 301, whatever. This is the important part of the episode that I wish we could spend more time on, but we'll let y'all kind of focus more about it in the comments. But the brothers, tomb to the womb to the tomb, and like
womb to tomb. Yeah,
this is them reflecting on this entire trip. This is them saying, why did we come? Now we're getting the answers here, because now Terry completely says, fuck this car business. I've been lying to myself the entire time. I think you even said that at one point. He's back in BMF full time. And now that the brothers are on the same page, this trip to Atlanta is all worth it. You talking about they got connections. You got
come back with a new product. Yeah, like that's the key part.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new product that the streets ain't have, and we know just how addictive cocaine is.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that when you make it to crack and you taking it to a city that's never experienced it before, as Meech said when he talked to Terry, like, hey, we need to take every advantage of everything at this point in time. It's still this drought going on. How do you help a drought? Make one into two.
Yep. And as if that could have been in conclusion of this episode, we get Lamar making a surprise visit to the Flannery home. And there's a lot to kind of unpack here, and I'm gonna kind of throw it to you. But Lamar knocking on the door, Lucille in the kitchen. She got an extra pepper in her step. The camera zooms in on her knife, and what's interesting to this is that do we assume that Lucille would have instantly had carried one, because we seen her shuffling in her pocket for something? And was it a knife? Was it something like? What's your thought? But I'll give it to you.
It was the knife that she was cutting up the vegetables with. She slid it in her pocket, went to the door. I think this was just a scene to show that Lamar knows where they stay at, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to still get his hands on Meech. But it also shows just the power of she put it. She slid it in her little apron.
I didn't even realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It shows the power of Lucille here. Like, just to hold on, and she fully understood the amount of danger they were in, but she also understood, like, I can use the one thing I know that can hopefully reach this young man. Let's pray about it.
The power of prayer. Here we see the prayer work against the devil here. I mean, again, Lamar showing up with clearly murder on his mind. Like, he's ready to do something. Lucille's clearly scared. But I think that, like, as I mentioned, Lamar has seemed to have turned the page in sort of like self-reflection and just kind of being open to change. And the things that were being said in his prayer was speaking towards Lamar, and you see him sort of mentally de-escalate from this intentions and wanting to murder anybody is available, because Nicole called Meech and says, "Get here right now," and he said, "We on the way," which they're not going to get there for another 10 hours, but okay.
Yeah, but unless they got the Game of Thrones machine somewhere,
or the Grand Theft Auto cheat, something like, yeah, like it's not happening. But and they got a red rental, so like, yeah, you're gonna have to drive the speed limit here, sir, because you got to
be extremely careful.
But as I said, as Nicole said, the person that killed Darius is here. But Nicole, excuse me, Lucille used the prayer, and when you talked about how vengeance does not belong to us, but it only belongs to him, as in God, Lamar just kind of just fell back off of it. So yeah, just to give it back to you though, like what are you thinking of? What are you making of the words that are being said, and just how we're seeing Lamar kind of walk back off this cliff that was going on?
This was the first time I saw Lamar and thought maybe he is changing some. Because even through some of the experiences we saw with Lamar earlier in this episode, I wouldn't have thought it was change. I just thought it was opportunity. But here's a situation where he was feeling what Lucille was preaching. And I think it reached him. And that's why he let her go. I think that's going to be the next evolution of Lamar. Is you can be the tough street guy, but are you gonna change just enough to fit in with more people? And here, his whole biggest thing is getting back his family and making sure they're taken care of. That's Lamar's big thing right now. And him saying, "I want my family back." Here, with him and Lucille, it's the same issue that he constantly goes after, and that's Meech. And it's like, I wondered, are we going to get to the point where this becomes to the detriment of Lamar, his ending? It's him constantly pursuing Meech. I think that's going to be an interesting thing to see.
Yeah. I don't know, man, but I for the second time, I'll leave my predictions for next week. I will let you all in the comments let us know your thoughts. Where do we see Lamar go next? And again, just much like the beginning of this episode, let us know some of your favorite moments of this episode, some of the things that we missed, some of the things that you all picked up on. You all be knowing about things and seeing things we sometimes don't. And like, Charles going through the scene twice is wild.
Season 1, episode 6. You see, he stepped in the room for a minute, but when he stepped in that room for the minute, he was really setting him up for season 2. I'm like, oh, y'all really got some conspiracy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is Moment of Truth, folks. You got anything you want to add before we roll out?
Everyone should enjoy this episode. This is not a filler episode. It does feel like an episode where we're finally aligning all of these characters up, and we're gonna see just the pursuit of what happens with the brothers, but also what happens with the parents, what happens with this new character Goldie. Like, it leaves you with so many questions, but in a good way, where you're still fulfilled by the episode, but you welcome these open questions. And then, is Monique a lawyer? I need to know this. Okay, it is highly important that I know this. Somebody from STARZ has reached out, let us know. You can confirm it, that Monique is a lawyer. We just need to know, because we want to support her. We feel like it's highly important to support this very pivotal character so far in the BMF universe.
Oh, BFF, huh? Folks, there's some content available on the channel, so definitely check it out, as we gave you the snippet of our interview with Christine Horn, aka Mabel. There's another one available also as well too. Won't tell you, just go look. But also when you get there, jump in the comments, y'all just say, "Hey, found it," or show some love, whatever it is, like and comment on those. But y'all know what it is. Back every week with your review and recap here after the conclusion of each BMF episode. For Lucas and I, we are out. Y'all be safe. We'll see y'all back very, very soon. Thank you for watching, folks.